everybody, welcome. This is Robin with Odessa Rose Creates. I'm an independent Couture designer, and I'm here to show you a fun new project that a couple of our designers came up with. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take that design idea and create. So let's get started. I want to make sure you can see me okay. Oh goodness, I know it's about a little afternoon. Some of you may be eating your Sunday dinner, or you're going to be watching me later. There we are. Okay, probably can't see me very well. Let me turn my camera just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're going to show you how to make these sleds out of our door tags, which I put the link to those on my website, that you can buy these for $9.99. They're already pre-whitewashed, kind of like, so they have this white finish on them, and actually you can create on both sides, but obviously you can't when you make them into a sled. But they are great door tags for like maybe 2 seasons in one. You can just flip it over. Maybe you want to do a fall and a winter, or maybe a winter and a Christmas, and you can just flip it over. So you can change it like a holiday and then change it over to a winter. So they're kind of fun to mess with, and I want to show you how to make the sleds. So say hello if you're watching, and we'll get started. Hi, Vicky. Let's see. I'll turn it this way and set this up here. So yes, yeah, kind of a crazy time today, but you know what? We went out and about and ate a late breakfast. I mean, we just grabbed a McDonald's breakfast sandwich, and so we're not eating dinner today. It's a Sunday, you know, you just kind of graze day, and it's starting to want to snow here in Omaha. It's kind of spitting stuff already. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Denise. Karen. Say hello, hello. Where you're coming from. Hi, Kristen. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're at. But we're going to do a sled. I'm going to be doing several of these, probably up to 6 of them for my craft show. So today we're just going to chalk on one, and then when I get them all chalked, then I'm going to put the floral arrangement. We'll be doing like an evergreen, like a little mini swag up here when we're done. And so I'm going to do those all at once. So today we're just going to chalk on the sled part, and then when I get them all chalked, then I can come back on and show you how I make the little floral. And it'll be evergreen and berry type of thing, and we'll chalk a little tag. I have different tags we can put into the floral arrangement that might say, you know, like Be Merry or something like that, depending on the theme of the board. But you can find all kinds of tags to use, so I'll have a variety of those too. But today we're just going to chalk on the board. I'm going to show you how I made this. And I'm not going to actually make one, because you got to I like to let the glue set, you know, like for 24 hours, so it gets nice and attached well. So who else is saying hello? Kristen, Deborah. Hi, hi, hi. Oh gosh. Okay, so these are our door tags by Couture. They are $9.99. They're on the retail site, and I love them. I've created both as door tags, and then now we're going to make them into sleds. So I'm going to set these aside. Get me some room here. So what we're going to be using is 5-gallon paint sticks. You can get them 3 in a package at your hardware home center stores. These have the actual ruler on them, and I didn't sand that off, but you can sand it off. But I just made sure that the lettering The numbering was on the inside of my runners, and same here on the little ones. And once you get the floral on here, you're really not going to see the numbers, so I'm not too worried about it because they don't show up down here. But if you don't like it, you can sand that off. It's just lightly painted on there. I don't know if you can even see it. You can see how light it is on there. And I just used kind of watered down paint. I used a brown and a gray. Kind of used both of them together, and it kind of just gave me this nice pretty color. Kind of a mousy dark brown. But you can choose any color you want. You could also just use a regular wood stain. But it's easy for me just to use the paint because I'm right here in my craft room and I don't have to worry about ventilation or anything like that. So I just use paint. But you can definitely use a regular wood stain. So they come 3 in a pack and they're only like 98 cents for 3 of them. And then the smaller stick, the 1 gallon stick, are these cross ones, and they come 10 in a pack for 98 cents. Okay, and they say they're great for crafts, signs, paint mixing, and more. So they're actually intended for crafting and or paint. So, but you can get those. I got mine at Lowe's, but I know all the home centers have them, and maybe even craft stores. I'm not sure. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead and, you can pre-paint these first if you think you're going to want them in a red or green color, blue color, whatever. You could pre-paint this first if you want to, but I left all mine white right now because I figure if I really wanted it painted, I can just paint the top real quick. But I did sand the edges down just to give that little bit of a vintage worn look. So I did sand down the edge. And then on the back side, I just took in fact you could even use this ruler, but I took this ruler here, it's a little bit narrow, and I just placed it right along the edge, drew a line with my pencil on both sides, and then that pencil line is where I knew to put the glue, and I used E6000, you can use wood glue, but any really good strong bonding glue. I put dots of it along, and then I used my hot glue gun between the dots and then pressed my board onto it. The hot glue sets it quickly, but the E6000 will be a more secure glue, stronger glue. But in order for it to set up fast, you want to add the hot glue. That's what I do anyway. And then I just made sure the numbers were on the inside because I didn't sand them off first. And then just right before it starts to curve, probably a 1/4 inch or so is where I started. I put this board, I tried to do about the same distance, just right before it starts to dip down. So you have that, it's about the right length in the width between the boards. So this is I have about 1 inch on the edge here. 1.25 inches. However, I thought that looked like a nice proportion. That would be okay. So once you get the long ones set in, then I set one on one side and then one. I use 2 of them. This makes it more secure, having 2 sticks versus just the one across the top. Kind of secures it all a little bit better. So you use 2 of them, and again, just glued them on. I just kind of make sure the dip of the handle part was on the same side, and I just let them set. So then I let them set for overnight. I did these all yesterday, and so today I'm going to chalk on them. So eventually, you can drill a hole in these to put your twine, but I think I'm just going to wrap it around a couple times. I'll glue it and wrap it a couple times, loop it over, and same thing over here when I get done. And then it's nice to have this hole here, because when you make your little floral arrangement, your little evergreen berry with a tag, and maybe you want to add some sleigh bells to it or whatever, you can use the tie, and you're going to put a bow on it. Then you can stick it all the way through here and then secure it on. But I'll probably add some glue also to make sure it's on good. But we're going to get ready to design on this one. I'm going to do some layering of transfers. So we'll see how it goes. I kind of wanted to show you the ones I picked out I'm going to use on my sleds. I'm going to use There's No Place Like Home. We're going to use that one today. This is a current transfer. This is a transfer from last year. There's no place like home, so that will be cute on the sled. This is also from last year, the ice skates. Of course, Cold Hand Warm Hearts is really good. And some people are making their mittens, they're chalking it on fabric. They're chalking all of this on the board, and then the mittens they're chalking on a canvas, and then you cut it out. You're going to need a front and a back. You're going to cut them out, so you're going to cut out 2 layers, top layer being chalked, and then glue them together, leaving the opening, and you can stuff a little bit of stuffing in it, and they become like little stuffed mittens, and then you can hang them actually on the sled, so it gives it a 3D. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I think I'm just going to chalk everything right on the board and make the focal point be in more of a focal point in the floral. Anyway, and then All Is Calm, All Is Bright. And I think these are from last year also. And then I like this One Child, One Star, One Night. I think would be pretty on the sleigh. So I think those are the ones I'm going to use. I'm going to make each one different. And I think I'm going to make about 6 of them because I had 6 of these tags. I have 4 sleds made because I thought I would show you more how to make it, but you really need to have this set and dried so you can start to chalk. You could chalk your tag first and then glue it on, but I'm just going to chalk afterwards, after I have them made. I am going to add a little bit of wax to the top of my board here, just so there's several reasons for waxing, and I've gone over it several times. Pre-waxing helps with your transfer not sticking so much to your surface. It helps with if you had a bleed out or you went over the transfer with your chalk paste. It's easier to clean up the chalk paste as the wax protects your paint coating from absorbing the chalk paste. So it's kind of nice for easy cleanup if you would need it. So that's 2 reasons to pre-wax. Post-waxing after I've chalked is just to make the surface harder and just protects it. So just add and you don't need much, just add a little bit of wax to your surface. And this is just, we sell our own wax now with Couture, but I've had this jar, so I'm going to be using that up. It's just a Minwax furniture wax paste. And this is what, some people put on furniture to protect their furniture. And this is just in the natural. There also is a dark stain wax that I use sometimes to make things a little bit more vintage. Okay, so I just got a little bit of wax on there. Good morning, Kari. Vicky, hello. All right. So a little bit of wax on there. So I'm going to do some layering. We're going to do home. There's no place like home for the holidays. So we'll put it kind of low on the sled because we want to have room for the floral up here, right? So we'll put that there. But first I'm going to layer with this pine. So this needs to be a really light color, like maybe even cream or really, really faint green, sagey color. And then I'm also going to run like a red stripe here. Because if you remember, sleds usually had some kind of a stripe along with their graphics. So I'm going to run like a stripe on top of this. And then in black, we'll do the lettering. So you want the lettering to pop off the most, right? So everything in the background kind of needs to be faint or lighter colored, so your lettering pops off. So you don't want to, if I did this in a darker green and then you put this on it, the green and the black would fight with each other. So you need to be very faint in your background color. Very light, if that makes sense. Good morning, Donna. Good morning, Dale. It's morning where you're all at. It's afternoon here. It's dinner time. It's in the noon hour. All right. One of the benefits of chalking this before I made the sled on this big of a transfer would have been that you could have just put this down, put your board right in there and go nice and flat over. But since I made it into the sled, I'm going to have to take it all off. I'm going to turn it this way. And this really doesn't have to be on any particular way because it's just a random pattern. So you just want to make sure it's on here smooth. You don't have any air pockets. So if you do have an air pocket, just kind of lift it up, smooth it out. And then you need to select a green or a creamy color. Let's look at other greens. I would say something like this eucalyptus would work good. Sage is a little bit darker. I have this old mint green. I'm probably going to go with eucalyptus. And you could kind of almost make your own green too if you really wanted to. This honeydew, kind of a nice light green. So I'm trying to decide which one to use. And I think I'm going to do like a red stripe. So I could almost do both, like put blotches of it down and then just kind of smear them in together. But that might end up maybe looking a little bit busy with having all the different layers. So, as you can see, I haven't really given any thought yet, so let me think. I think I'll go with the eucalyptus. And honestly, I can't remember if that's a current color or not. I'll look in the catalog. Eucalyptus is a current color in the inks, and I'm sure it is in the face. Yep. Eucalyptus right there. So another good color to use, I think, would be dune or even grayish if you didn't want much color. Or you could even add a little bit of dune to this if you wanted to lighten it up a little bit, which I might do because I don't want it too dark. I don't want much of a contrast at all. I want it like barely there. So you could take one of our little trays or a little, just a little plate and mix a little bit of white with it or dune and go that route. So I might do that. I'll just show you how you can mix your paints to create your own colors. So I'm just going to add a little bit of eucalyptus. I'm going to put it on this tray here. And we're covering a pretty big area, so I might need quite a bit. And honestly, I'll probably just put it right back in the eucalyptus when we're done, even though I, may have lightened it up a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of water. You probably can't see. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to it because my dune is pretty thick. So I'm just going to mix these. I'm just going to lighten that eucalyptus up a little bit. Just going to mix it in, see where we're at. Make sure I mix in the water really well too, so it's not too watery. If it's too watery, then you're going to have it bleed underneath the silk screen, and then your print wouldn't be a very good print if you have run through. So make sure you don't have it too runny. And it's kind of runny, so I might add just a little bit more dune to it. Plus it'll lighten it up a little bit more. Like I said, I don't want it very dark. Okay. So you can see the difference. It's lighter. Not by a ton, but it is lighter. Okay. I think it's pretty good. And I'm going to grab me a drink of my Diet Coke from, yes, McDonald's. Grabbed a breakfast at McDonald's today. Alright, so I'm just taking my small squeegee and just scoop a bunch of it up. I'm still kind of runny. Just kind of making me nervous. I might add a little bit more dune to it. I just don't want it quite that runny. And I don't care if it lightens it up even more. It's okay with me. Alright, that's a good color. It's like barely green. So I mixed dune and eucalyptus together. You can see it's lighter than the original eucalyptus. Alright, again I'm going to make sure that's all nice and tight. So I need to spread this all over my tag, which is now a sled. And if you're just joining, I talked about how I made this into a sled. Not my original idea. We had some designers on my team on my upline team that came up with this idea. I think they'll be a nice addition to the craft show, which is November 7th. So, got it covered. I'm just going to scrape down all the extra chalk paste, because otherwise it's just going to go down the drain. Okay. And then I will scrape this back into my eucalyptus jar. Even though it's a little bit lighter in color, it's not going to matter. I don't think. Alright, that looks pretty. I'm going to lay this on the sheet, the backer sheet, until I can go and wash that in the sink later. I'm just laying it on here. And then I will put that under the water and wash all that paste off so I can reuse it. And that looks, actually it's pretty just by itself, isn't it? It's really pretty. With this gray-brown color. Looks cute. So this is the little sled if you're just joining. Thanks, Nancy, for sprinkling. What else am I missing? What about one of the shimmer colors? Oh, sure. You can use whatever color you want. This is just what I'm choosing to do. That's the great thing about Couture. You can use your own color choices, your own designs. This is just one of 6 sleds I'm going to make, so they're all going to be different. Okay. Anyway, I showed earlier how I made the sled out of paint sticks, the 5-gallon paint sticks, and then the 1-gallon paint sticks. And just glue them to the tag. So I want to go ahead and scrape this paste back into my eucalyptus jar before it dries out. Okay, put that all back in there. I'm just going to mix it in with the original color. Like I said, there's not much, I mean it's lighter, but it's not going to, that little bit's not going to make a big difference in your jar. Just mixing it in. Okay. And sometimes before I close up, I like to give a little extra moisture in my jars. For storing. And I usually like to scrape down the edges or the rims and get all that paste down into the bulk of it there. Okay. And I know I have a new dune, but I just spray a little water in there. Eventually I'll add this to my new jar. But I'm just going to seal it up for now. I just sprayed a little water in there. Okay. So now we have this. And I'm going to dry it really well. Hello from Canada. Saskatchewan. I never can say that right. Love the little sled. Yes, that color came out really pretty. It's pretty just by itself, really. I'm going to make sure it's nice and dry. I may even sand this a little bit just to make it a little more warm looking. But you want to have your chalk nice and dry when you do that. Good morning from Arizona, Donna. Hi, Gail. Nancy. I'm sure I'm saying hi to everybody. Hello, hello. Get this nice and dry. Okay, so I had a little bit of bleed through right here on this little stem. So I could just leave it and really sand that down since I'm going to be sanding this. Or I could try to clean that up with a Q-tip and a little bit of water. I'll show you how to do that. So I just take one of these tips here, and usually I just kind of spray it wet. And you don't want it really wet, but kind of squeeze it in. And then you can just wipe that up. Especially since I pre-waxed, which is why I was telling you. That makes it cleaning up a lot easier if you have waxed it first. So you can see how I cleaned that up. So you don't really see the bleed through now, right? So that was pretty much the only place I had that. And that could have been, there might have been a little air pocket there, or the paste might have been just a little bit watery at that point. It's hard to say. Your surface might be a little bit more uneven. There's lots of reasons you may have a bleed through. Usually I just Don't worry about them too much. I think it gives it more of a handmade look than a machine stamp. Sometimes there are those happy little mistakes, like Bob Ross says. We're just making sure it's dry. Okay, so I'm actually going to just sand a little bit, and maybe you want to, not too much of a grit on your paper. These are both 80s. Kind of worn. And I'm just going to lightly sand it. And you don't even have to do this. It also kind of helps with not having any raised, I mean, you may not think it's raised very much, but when you keep layering and you have a lot of chalk on there, that's, you know, it may cause unevenness for your next level. So it's kind of nice just to smooth it down so you don't have much of a raise for the next layer. And it just gives it more of a vintage look. And you can feel where the chalk is. Even through the paper, you can feel, you know, where it's raised from the chalk. And you can, you know, almost chalk away some areas just to make it more of a worn look. Okay, so you want to make sure you clean all that off. Hi from another designer. And oh, you're the second one from Canada. Still battling nerve pain from the shingles. Oh, so sorry to hear that, gal. Haven't done any Christmas chalking yet. Well, you still got plenty of time. It's not even Halloween yet. Just getting all the chalk dust off. Okay, so now it's a little bit smoother. You don't feel so much raise in the chalk areas. And I don't always do that, just depending on what look I want. Okay, now I'm going to put some racing stripes. The Radio Flyer. I'm just going to put a couple stripes right down here. And probably a red, because I anticipate having red berries in my swag up here. I'm going to put up floral swag, evergreen, berries, holly, whatever, in this area. So I'm going to bring in some red into my design. These are the border variety. And there is a variety of borders, but I'm probably going to keep it kind of simple because of all what's going to be going on here. And this is my go-to border. I use this a lot, as you can see. It's been used a lot. Could just do a one line. This is a one line with little dots. There's some patterns. But since I've already got the leaves on there, if I hadn't done the pine leaves, you know, one of these patterns would have been kind of cool on it. Something like that, which I might do on another sled. So I think I'll just do my one that I always do. And I think I'm going to pretty much run it right along on top of the runner. And then I'll do it over here too. Okay? And that just kind of gives it more of a sled look, I guess. And I'm just going to do it in the scarlet. Again, you can use, there's all kinds of, we have our candy apple red, which is a little bit brighter red. This is a little bit darker red. We also have our shimmer red. Any of those would work. If you want to use red, you could go blue. Blue would be pretty. If you're going to do blue in your ribbon. Some of my sleds I will do, I think that snowman one that says snow place like home, I will probably do that in red or blues. So I'm just going to line this up on top of like where the blade is, or the runner of the sled, you could say. There isn't much sticky to this anymore because I've used it so much. I think it's sticking down pretty good. I'm just going to take a mini squeegee and just make that in red. So here we go. I'm just going to kind of go this way. One there. Flip around, we'll do this side. And we want the skinny line on the outside. Just like that one is. Trying to get it to stick. Mini squeegee again, and we'll do this side. Now I think this is really going to be pretty when I put some, I have some really pretty holly, variegated holly, you know, with the sage in it and the cream and the greens, and then with the red berries. It's going to look really pretty on the top for my floral. I'll probably put in a black mini tag with it to bring in this black lettering that we're going to do next. So I have it pictured in my mind what it's going to look like. Hopefully it'll be as cute as I think. Alright, so there we have that one. I'm going to lay this down also so I can wash it later. And we're done with our red. So put my paste away. Again, scrape down the sides best you can. I'm going to dry this. Hello, hello. Hi, Debbie. Dry it. You see that red darkens up as it dries, so it's looking really pretty. Fun. Hey, you know what? I'm going to plug in my camera. I have my plug right here. There we go. Okay, so next I could also sand this red down a little bit, but I think we'll be okay with it staying right there. So it's looking pretty. Now we're going to add this snow place like home. I'm not going to do these swirlies because I think that competes too much with the little pine branches. So this actually, you can add this swirl down below too if you wanted to. I cut that. There's a cut line there because you actually would probably put it more centered. But I'm not going to use this, or I'm not going to chalk these swirlies. I think that's just too much against the background patterns that I added here. And I may put this on our fuzzing towel, since we have a lot of chalk on here. This helps from it being not so sticky if you fuzz your transfer, is what we call it. You're just putting a little bit of lint or fuzz on the back of this so it's not quite so sticky. And it's coming up really easy off the towel, so I know it's not overly sticky anyway, so we're just gonna set it right on here. And I'm gonna bring it down a little bit because if you can imagine the greenery here, taking up the top area, and then I'm just lining it up, you know, lining these lines here. Got greenery coming here. So we need our black, and you can use your shimmer shadow black if you want. I'm just doing everything in regular non-shimmer colors for this. And I need to remember not to do the swirlies. So sometimes I forget, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I already swirled. This paste is pretty thick, which means it's probably going to dry quicker, so I need to hurry and get it on and get it off. I do need to do the like. So just make sure you cover all the silk screen areas, which is the white that's coming through there. That's all silk screen fabric that the chalk paste is going through to make your print. And if you're new to the art of chalk couture, these silk screens are washable and reusable. Okay, so there, let's pick that up. There we go. Okay, then we'll, I'm just going to lay it on the backer sheet so I can take that to the sink and wash it in a little bit. And there it is. No place like home. So that is all I'm going to do as far as chalking. I'll let this dry. I'll put a little wax over it again. That seals in the chalk paste and just makes your surface harder, just like it would on furniture. Okay, so then when I get all my sleds done, and I'm going to have like 6 of them, then I'm going to go in and make all the florals so I can have all that mess out at the same time. And I'm going to do a little floral swag here with a bow and a little mini tag. I'll stick in probably a black one, you know, like it'll say something like Be Merry or something. I'll stick that in the floral arrangement, and then it'll be done. So the next, probably most of today, I'll get most of my sleds done, and then I can add the florals tomorrow. So that's it, guys. That's my little sled. Almost done. This was first step was building the sled, which I talked about earlier, chalking on the sled, and then the last step will be the swag to go on the top. So there you go. Get some of these door tags, and you can even vintage this up with distressed ink. I did sand the edges before I glued it to my runners, and then I will probably distress it a little bit more with some distressed ink just to kind of almost give it a vignette look where it kind of darkens around the edges a little bit. But I'm going to dry this, distress it, and then put some wax on it. If y'all want to watch that, that's great. It's going to dry. cool. Let's put this away. It's kind of fun adding that wax when your board's a little warm from the heater of your gun, because the wax goes on smoother. I think I'll put the natural wax on it again. I don't want to darken the background much more than it already is. Oh, first let's put a little distressed ink on it. I think I'm going to use just brown. I have a vintage photo brown, and I have a walnut. And the walnut kind of goes good with the runners. So I'm going to grab me a, this one's about worn out. I'm just going to, this just kind of darkens the edges a little bit. And really up here you're not even going to see it hardly, because I'm just going to do the edges too. Just kind of darken. White side here. I'm going to darken that up. Darken down here. And every once in a while you can give it a little darkness in the middle so it looks kind of more worn in that area. Normally I would darken up here, but we're not going to see that anyway because of the swag that's coming in. Okay. That can dry. Put a little bit of wax on it, seal it all in, and it'll be ready for the florals. Kind of rub that in lightly. And now we're just sealing it. That wax hardens when it dries and becomes a protective coating. My rag in my can to keep it from getting hard. So I just keep it in there. Okay guys, now it's done. We're just ready for the florals. And I'll do those later this week. If I get all my sleds done today, then I can start florals tomorrow. But I only have 4 built, so I'm going to have to build 2 more sleds. And we'll go from there. Okay guys, thanks for joining me today, and happy chalking. If you're not a chalker, I don't know what you're waiting for. Go to my website. You can be shopping on there. Here's the site. Couture.com/OdessaRose. I believe in the description up above, I have the website there that actually goes right to where you can purchase the door tags. But all the pays, transfers, they're all on the site there. Check them out. And or if you want to become a designer, you can join Couture as a designer. Like myself, and then you can enjoy that wholesale pricing and take advantage of that too. So, see the back of my shirt? I don't know if you saw that. That's my ink project. Okay, so there it is. Happy chalking, and I'll try to come on when I do my florals, maybe tomorrow or the next day, and you can watch me attach the florals to all the sleds. So, we'll see you next time. Bye.